out today, huh?
How did you see how Trayvon did in his first defensive play this year?
I thought Trayvon was solid. He's been solid in practice. He's obviously coming along. As far as the scheme is concerning, but he's a tall guy who can make plays. He's very smart. He works hard. So obviously, with time, he should get better for us. But I was pleased last week.
What about Antonio? How close is he?
Hopefully he's ready to go. Obviously, he's been out for a month now. It takes time to get your timing back, and obviously your football, it's getting your wind back to play football. So we'll be patient there. Marco's playing good football. Again, Trayvon's coming along fast. So we've got time to get him back and make sure he's right to play.
How do you improve your sack numbers?
I'm sorry?
Your sack numbers.
The sack numbers, how we improve them?
Yeah.
That's not important. It's not. Obviously, sacks over the years has led to defense having success, but it's about winning the game. I think our win rates, as far as rushing, has been high. I think our system, the history of our system, people don't hold the ball. The ball's out fast, so sack numbers don't concern me. One number concerns me. That's winning a football game, and that comes down to playing good, solid football and winning third downs and winning red zone and not giving up big plays. And if sacks fall in there, I'll take them. But outside of that, that doesn't bother me at all.
There's been a few stories this week about the Eagles and Jalen running RPOs and just
Sure.
how they kind of keep it simple, but it's very hard on defense.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from that offense? And is that basically true? Are they basically running simple stuff, but they're just
Yeah.
playing off what defenses are
Well,
doing?
first I would say the quarterback's playing really well. I mean, he's poised, he's smart, he makes quick, sound, clean decisions. He's as a passer, he's grown, right? And he's throwing the ball to really good players. Their O-line is very good. It's probably the best we've played in a long time. As far as the five guys across the board, the center is amazing as far as picking up pressures and different exotic looks. That's where it starts. Obviously, the offense has been built and designed for him, and he's doing a great job of execution. And it's not simple. It's really assignment option football. So it forces you to be disciplined. And if you make any mistakes, they're going to take advantage of it. So you can be simple but still be complicated when it comes to different ways to do certain plays. And it's a hard offense to stop because the quarterback, obviously, if it's not cover zero, you don't have a gap for him, a player for him, and that makes it tough. So if you're in cover 3, cover 4, cover 6 or 8, you can't account for the quarterback, right? So if he pulls the ball and runs, that comes from obviously scheme and some poor guy having 2 gaps, and now the pass game happens. So it's a tough offense, and it's been running in college for a long time, but now in this league it's here. And he's doing a great job of not taking hits, taking care of his body, but also being a threat as a runner, and that's tough. So their numbers speak for itself. They're winning. I mean, he's playing at a high level, so it's working for him.
Has he grown that much since 2020 when you played them, and how much of that is just, obviously there's different coaches, so I'm sure it's a different scheme that he's working?
He's grown a lot since the time we played him 2 years ago. The scheme hadn't changed much, right? That's Frank Wright and those guys, and it's Frank Wright's guys as far as Nick and Shane. So the scheme's pretty much the same outside. Not having Zach there, it's more 11 versus 12 personnel, but the concept hadn't changed on the quarterback, and that's huge for that kid. But he has mastered it, and he's playing on a high level.
The Eagles, like the Cardinals, are one of the teams with the most fourth down attempts in
Sure.
the league, that obviously aside from end-of-game situations. What have you seen over the last few years? Those numbers go up
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
What's the trend there that you see?
I think the trend is people are being more aggressive, and they're obviously it's a league of scoring points, and I think a 4th and 1 call, even when you're, obviously in a high red zone, it's a no-brainer. Everyone's going for it because if you don't make it, it's a long field for the offense. So that's a no-brainer. But teams are going for it midfield. We had one last week, in the minus territory. So, it's important to score points. So the 4th and 1, 4th and 2s, teams are taking more chances now. That was a no-no years ago, but now it's a go. I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's numbers. Numbers don't play football. I think you have to be smart with those things, and it's good sometimes, not good sometimes, but it's definitely hard on defenses because having a 4th-and-1 call or a 4th-and-2 call is tough. I mean, you got to be exact and perfect. So it falls in offense's favor, to try and go for it on 4th-and-1 or 2.
Do you see it more from the seams from a lot of the younger head coaches that have come in the league?
I wouldn't say that. I think the trend has changed for all coaches in the last probably 5 years. It's just the numbers. And it's been proven that it works and it puts pressure on the defense. And again, to get 1 yard, that's fairly easy to do. If you got a good play call, right? To get 1 yard is easy to do. So it's a good thing for the offense, a bad thing for defenses.
What do you still need to see from Sanders to get him active for game day?
Majay is working hard. Obviously, he's playing behind some veteran players, and that's half his battle. But he's working hard. I mean, he's one of the guys who's got true pass rush ability. But the game is more about not all about pass rush and sacks. It's about first, second down, also in assignments, and he's still growing there. But he's a guy that we're obviously drafted him to be a pass rusher, and he's coming along. And I think with time he'll be ready to play for us.
We haven't had a chance to talk to you since Sunday, but obviously JJ went through quite a bit last week.
Sure.
The effort that he gave you and coming back, I mean, I think you guys, whatever you are, 10-1, 10-2 when he plays in games.
Mm-hmm.
He's super important. Just what did you see out of him? Are you surprised at all that he was able to perform like that given the circumstance?
No. Once he was cleared to play, I mean, he was in the right mindset. Sunday morning we talked before the game, and he was ready to go. I asked him again, "Are you sure you want to go?" He said, "Yep, I'm ready to go." So, once the doctors cleared him, he was all in. He was ready to go, and he felt that it was a big game for us, obviously, and the front played very well. But Jay, I mean, he's different. If he's playing, it's going to be 100%. Same in practice, same in the weight room, in the classroom. He's always 100%. So I wasn't surprised he played well, but he was ready to go and not worried.
Isaiah played a lot more last week. Was that just with McVigil, the game, or is that the plan again moving forward for him?
It was both. I mean, it was a plan, but he's earned the right. I mean, he's had 2 great weeks of practice, and for our young guys, that's the key, in my opinion. The process of winning games starts in practice, right? So, as he's practiced better, he's played better, and that's part of being a good pro. But I've been proud of Isaiah. He's practiced well. He's played well the last 2 weeks. So that's the trend so far. So hope if he can stay that way, I mean, he helped us win, obviously. I mean, his talent shows when he's playing, good, sound football. So I'm proud of him, for not pouting and just working and getting better each week, and it's shown on game day.
Proud of you, Zach Allen.
Very, because Zach's a guy who's always working. I mean, as far as with Buddy or the classroom with Matt, I mean, he's always working. So to watch him have success is fun because he put the works in every day. So that's huge for players who work hard and practice the right way, and it shows on game day.
Thanks, DJ.
All right, guys, thank you.
during the week with the Philly media, but obviously your feelings playing the Eagles the first time.
Yeah, I don't think the emotion has hit me. It's been a lot of just viewing them for the next opponent. I got a lot of good relationships still back there. Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Fletch, BG. We played a lot of football together, 8+ years together. So when you're with people that long, it becomes more than just a football thing. It becomes more of a relationship, care about them and their family. So from that perspective, it's going to be good to see those guys. But on the field, it's going to be me versus their defense. It's not going to be Zach versus the Eagles. And we just got to go out there and play a really good football game.
On the emotional level, is there any part of you that's glad that it's here and not necessarily Philadelphia?
No. There's going to be a lot of Philly fans. I know that. Hopefully the Cardinals don't sell their tickets or anything like that to those guys. So I expect it to be a good home atmosphere. We got to find a way to win a game at home. We haven't done it yet this year. And so that's what we're looking forward to. It doesn't matter where the game is. It could be played in the parking lot. I'd be looking forward to the game either way.
How weird will it be to face the green jersey?
Yeah, it'll be the last team I played. I played every other team in the NFL multiple times. This will be my last one. So I'm excited about it. They know me well. I know them well from a personnel standpoint. Obviously, some of the pieces are a little different. I was there for 6 weeks plus a training camp last year. So I know schematically what they're trying to do, what their points of emphasis are, but it really starts up front for those guys. They got a phenomenal defensive line, really good O-line. That's how they've built the team in that organization over the years, is prioritize the O-line and D-line. And you see it show up each and every Sunday, so it's going to be a good test for us.
You have obviously a long history in Philadelphia, but in the short amount of time here, you tied the franchise record for catches last year in only 11 games. It'd probably be crazy if you don't break it this year. What does it mean to you to already be making these runs at franchise records for an organization that is this old? Does it mean something to you, even though you haven't been here as long as the Eagles?
Yeah, obviously that stuff is cool. It's something that when you're doing it, you don't put too much thought and effort into it. You just go out there and play great football. But when I'm done playing, when I'm able to reflect and kind of take a deep breath, hopefully in the next 4 or 5 years, however long it may be, that's when I'll take a deep breath and kind of reflect on my career and what we've accomplished. And I say we because I know I didn't do this myself. It took a lot of people to get me here. It took a lot of great teammates along the way to play with, to put me in positions to be successful, coaches to put me in positions to be successful. So I feel like my career is a reflection of those that have impacted me in a positive light. And in the time being, I'm trying to be the best tight end I can be for this organization.
If you reflect now on the era of tight ends come up with, and that we're fortunate enough to see there's been so many great ones, and to be part of those guys, what's that like when you think back on it?
Yeah, like I said, I try not to reflect. I don't feel like I'm an old guy, so I don't feel like my era is done by any means. But I definitely grew up watching amazing tight ends. Jason Witten was the guy that I watched constantly when I was a young player in the league. Even in college, he was the guy that I felt like always did things the right way, was always getting open, was always making plays on third down and in the red zone. And so he was the kind of a guy I took at affinity tours. I think you could see parts of his game probably in my game, just the way how much I've cherry-picked from him. Tony Gonzalez as well. And then when I first got into the league, Rob and Jimmy were doing ridiculous things. And so now the past kind of 10 years, me and Trav came in together, so it's been fun. And none of us, it's never felt like a competitive rivalry where you're wishing ill. Like, it's always been a friendly, like I'm trying to build him up, he's trying to build me up with Trav. And obviously I got a lot of respect for him, and I got a lot of good years left, so.
With the relatively, most guys can't play an entire career with one team. It's just not how it works out these days. With some time to reflect, have you kind of come to grips with the fact you couldn't play your whole career in Philadelphia? Because I'm assuming that was the hope at one point.
Yeah, at one point it was, obviously. You spend a long time in one place, you get comfortable, you get a routine. And I loved playing there. Obviously, I think everyone knows that. But I was excited for the next challenge. When I came to grips with that, it wasn't a real possibility. It was, okay, let's figure out which situations would be great for me. And Arizona was at the top of the list. And this was even before the start of last year. And so for me, I'm ecstatic that I got traded here. My family's ecstatic that we got traded here. And so I'm just fortunate that these guys believed in me. And it's not looking back on this game like, hey, Philly didn't believe in me anymore. It's more, hey, the Cardinals believed in me a ton, and they came out and traded for me. And so that's what I try and go out there each and every time I step on the field, is kind of reciprocate that belief that they had in me.
Amongst starting quarterbacks, you didn't have a ton of stability there. You went through 7 different guys, and you've got one here that you said when you re-signed, it was important to be with a guy that you could grow with him.
Yeah.
Can you maybe touch on that again?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I thought I was going to play with Carson for a long time. But when I was figuring out where I could get traded, Kyler was a guy that I was eager to play with if that possibility presented itself. You see the ridiculous plays, but this is a guy that can make all the throws from the pocket. He can extend plays with his legs. He can turn plays that really should have no shot at being successful, like the 2-point plays against the Raiders or the 4th down plays that week, and give us an opportunity to win no matter what situation we're up against. And so it's a lot of fun playing with a guy like him. He's super, super smart and super, super cerebral. We see the game extremely similarly. And that's what I try and do. It doesn't matter, I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter how I view things when I run routes. It's all about, does the quarterback see it the same way, and is the timing going to match up to his drop? Because if I do my own thing and he's not expecting it, it doesn't matter how open I am. So I just try and get as open as I can where he wants me to be, and I feel like I've done that for a long time.
He says you're always open.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I feel like if my body is in front of the DB, I'm always open. But I put a lot of time and work into my route running. I feel like it's a point of emphasis for me to work on my feet consistently. I feel like no one really runs routes like me. So I just try and go out there and get open and do my best. And if the ball comes, great. If it doesn't, great. There were times when I was younger, I'd get frustrated if I had a ton of separation, wasn't getting the ball. But I just came up with this mantra that I was going to put wins on tape. It didn't matter if I was going to get the ball or not. The quarterbacks will eventually see it. And like I said, we got a lot of good playmakers on this team, so I don't need to get the ball 150 targets a year. I just need to do my job every play.
Hunter did say you like to let him know, though, if you're open and you don't get the ball.
I just kind of give him a look, like, hey, if you need me, I'll be there. I'm not a guy I know he's got so many things going on back there, so many things that are way out of my thought process. I'm just focused on my singular job. He's got to worry about 10 other guys. So no matter what decision he makes, I'm never going to be the guy that's chirping relentlessly at him or whatever. I just try and get open to the best I can, and if I get the ball, great, and if I don't, great. I try my best to kind of leave it at that.
I know you were talking to Cliff a bunch throughout the game, on the sidelines, in between plays. What were those conversations like? What are you asking him or telling him?
Yeah, we're just constantly in conversation, kind of what he's seeing. What I'm seeing, obviously, he's got a good perspective from the sideline. I got a good perspective on the field. There are times he asked me what plays that I like for certain guys or whatnot, just because I played a lot of football and understand coverages pretty well, and I kind of know where to attack defenses or leverages. So he's just constantly having a conversation with me, trying to keep each other going regardless of the situation. And it's amazing to have a relationship like that with Cliff. I don't expect to get the ball 15 times a game. It's never about me. I try not to make it about me. But yeah, it's good to have a conversation and constant communication with the head coach.
How much appreciate that the coach can come to you with those questions of what you're seeing and what plays and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Obviously, he doesn't need to do that. Obviously, I trust him wholeheartedly that he's going to get us in the best play possible. He's going to attack the defense how he sees fit. And it's amazing. It makes the game a lot more fun for me when you have a coach like that that's interested in just hearing what you have to say, what your opinion is, whether it comes to fruition or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's his job to get us in the best play possible. But it makes the game fun for me to kind of have that open dialogue constantly.
But what you know and what you've seen, does this Eagles team look like a legitimate contender?
Yeah, I mean, they're 4-0 for a reason, obviously. They've had a lot of leads in a lot of games. I think they've been ahead in 67% of their games or something crazy stat like that. They have a lot of talent on that team. You see it with the O-line, the D-line, skill position guys. Slay is obviously one of the best in the league. Extremely well coached. It's going to be a good fight for us. I'm excited about it.
Having shared the tight end room with Dallas, what really stands out in his game, and have you kept a lot of tabs on him?
I mean, we're not in constant conversation. We texted after I left, but he's a guy that's extremely talented with the ball in his hands. They try and find ways to dump him the ball early, tight end screens constantly, jailbreak screens in the middle of the field, tunnel screens, check downs. They're constantly just trying to find ways to get him in short areas, allow him to catch the ball and run. I think he had 5 catches last week. 4 of them were within a yard or 2. So he's extremely good with the ball in his hands, and they're going to find ways to get him the ball.
You mentioned their defensive line. Is that the biggest challenge of going against that defense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're 6, 7 guys deep. 6 guys deep really on that D-line, maybe even more. They roll off the ball. They're extremely talented. I mean, Fletch and BG have been doing it for 10, 13 years, or 11 and 13 years. Guys that have been all pros, Pro Bowlers. Josh Sweat was a Pro Bowler. Hassan, obviously, everyone knows here. Hargrave is a stud. So that D-line is the key to our success, is trying to nullify them, and it's a lot easier said than done. But we got a great scheme going into the game, and we got some good O-linemen as well, so I'm excited to see them go.
Did you get any influence on the practice playlist going into Philly week?
I know, Dreams and Nightmares to start off. I think I've heard that song about 10,000 times. But yeah, that did not have any influence.
I've also been big on having an impact on and off the field. How do you feel like you've been able to do that, since coming to Arizona with your guys' foundation?
Yeah, it's very important to Julie and I with our foundation. Obviously in Philly we were there. We had a long time to kind of figure out a project that we're doing the House of Hope out there in Philly, in North Philly. And it's been a project that we've been working on for 3 years, and it's supposed to be completed in January of 2023. It's going to be a safe space for kids in North Philly after school to kind of come in there. We're going to have a cafeteria, a kitchen to kind of come and do their homework, get fed, get poured into. It's going to be a church on Sundays. And then when we got traded out here, it was, hey, we want to make a difference. We don't have a ton of time to figure it out. And that's when we found out about the food insecurities here. In Arizona, we found out, obviously we had a son in August, and 1 in 6 kids in Arizona are dealing with hunger. So it was important for us to kind of help fill that void, and that's why Julie and I donated 500,000 meals to our community here in Arizona. Obviously every touchdown is going to be 10,000 meals with a minimum of 500,000 meals. So we're excited about it. Obviously would love partners to join us, whether it be corporations, athletes, anyone. But yeah, it's important to us for sure.
What did Julie think about that touchdown celebration?
She loved it. She loved it. The only thing I regret is maybe not spiking the ball, but other than that, it was a great celebration. She loved it. We got the ball made out to Madden and everything, so it will be a keeper.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.